You're
Yeah,
always valuing what happened yesterday, and what you need is what's going to happen tomorrow.
correct.
so, so
Absolutely.
that's a struggle. Yeah. So there are strategies everywhere from £50 a week up to £100 million, and they're different. Huh? They range differently from everyone, but and from country to country. To be fair, different countries have different tax laws, so different vehicles. But from your point of view, at the sort of normal end, I'm not going to call it the low end because I'm in that boat as well. It's as tax efficient as you can get it. That's where you start. You
Right.
use all the tax efficiencies, and then you step up into different things.
Welcome back to the show. It's your girl Sarah right here on Relax Radio. You're tuned into the sunrise, and I'm super excited to be here because we still have a lot of conversation. We still have a lot of important discussion to be had to have with regard to climate change, with regard to the impacts and the damage and the huge impacts and changes that is causing, not just here in the United Kingdom, but in fact all of the entire world as well. So that's why it's important to have this conversation so we can actually make sure that everyone who's listening in actually understands the impacts of climate change actually, and make sure that they take the steps that is necessary to make that change, to make sure that we save our planet, and we try to do as much as we can to make sure our planet is safe. All right. So that is what we're going to be talking about. Now, make sure you stay tuned because obviously, like I said, we're going to be talking about all of this. But before we get back into the show, I want to very quickly remind you that you can, in fact, be a part of this show. All you need to do is just text me on 078 Share your thoughts with me, share your opinions with me, because I would absolutely love to hear whatever it is that you have to say with regard to climate change. All right. And you can either agree with me or disagree with me, but whatever it is, I would honestly love to hear whatever it is that you're saying. All right, so don't forget to do that. Don't forget to share your thoughts and your opinions, because it will be absolutely amazing if you can. All right. Now, before we head back into the conversation, I want to very quickly remind you that you can go follow us on our socials. All you need to do is go like us on Facebook and follow us on Instagram, Twitter, and TikTok. That way you can actually make sure that you're always informed and you're always updated with regard to the very latest in news in terms of what is happening around the world. All right. So if you're someone who loves to be updated about everything, well, go follow us and subscribe to our YouTube as well. And don't forget to download our app, which is available for free on both the Apple App Store and the Google Play Store. You can actually make sure you're listening from anywhere in the world at any time of the day. So right now, let's actually head back into a conversation about why we need to change now, and why it's going to be too late if we don't actually do what we really have to do. Right now, this was actually said by Mr. Alok Sharma, who happens to be responsible for making the COP26 climate summit in Glasgow this year a success, right? Because he said that the world is running out of time to stop catastrophic climate change as wildfires tear through southern Europe, right? And look, this is the truth, right? How many, okay, right, recently, the most recent one is the wildfires that are happening in Greece, right? And recently, some British soldiers were also deployed to go and help with the situation that is happening in Greece. So now I think now you can get a fair idea and an understanding of how bad climate change, how bad the effects of climate change are on the planet, right? Because there are forest fires, there are flash floods, and here in the UK we experience those flash floods as well. And we know how many people it put how many people it put at risk, and how many people how many people had to face a lot of difficult times, tough times, because of the flash floods and the forest fires, right? And if you don't remember the terrible fires that took place in Australia last year, if I'm not mistaken, you know um it caused a lot of pollution as well, right? People were finding it hard to breathe. There was a lot of carbon monoxide in the air, and it was very, very poisonous. So this is just how our new normal is going to be if we don't really take the necessary steps that we need to take to change the climate, to make sure that we try to get or reduce the global temperature, because the global temperatures are rising, right? Now, according to the IPCC, in the next century, our global temperature can actually rise between 2.5 degrees to 10 degrees Fahrenheit. All right. And that's just in the next century. So, look, we are already almost at 1.5 degrees. We already have a very terrible temperature here, because it's very warm. Glaciers are melting, ice is melting, sea levels are rising, and a lot of plant and animal diversities, a lot of plant and animal populations are in fact dying, right? And when I say dying, I don't mean that dying because of thirst or whatnot, but dying because there is no they're dying because of the heat. They're dying because they can't live in that kind of environment anymore, and they're finding it very hard to survive, right? And as human beings, it's very hard for us to survive if there are no plants and there are no animals, right? Because there's a reason all of these other species actually exist. So it's very, very important to keep that in mind as well. Now we're actually going to head into a small break, and after that, we will be back to keep talking more about this. So, obviously, until then, make sure you stay tuned. Welcome back to the show. It's your girl Sarah right here on Relax Radio. Super, super excited to be here because obviously, I'm here to share my thoughts and my opinions with regard to the pandemic, or rather, with regard to climate change, right? I don't know why, but I've been getting confused with the pandemic and climate change. But I guess, in a way, if you actually think about it, climate change is also, a big problem that we are currently facing. In addition to the pandemic, climate change is something that is stressing out a lot of us as well. And the reason it's stressing us out is obviously, because of the temperature changes, because of the loss of animal and plant populations, and the flash floods, the forest fires. There's obviously a lot on our minds, right? And that's why it's very, very important for you to take that step to change the way that the world is right now. All right. So you're tuned into the sunrise with me, Sarah, and I'm here to keep you company all the way until 9 a.m. So make sure you stay tuned and make sure you stay updated, because I would love to hear whatever it is that you have to say with regard to with regard to what is going on, not just here in the United Kingdom, but in fact over the entire world as well. All right. So you can text me or call me on 078 get on your phones, text me, call me. We're always on our phones. So I'm pretty sure you can drop in a text and share your thoughts and opinions with me, because I would love to hear what you have to say with regard to the pandemic, with regard to, not the pandemic, but with regard to climate change. All right. So make sure to keep that in mind. And don't forget to go follow us on our socials. You can, in fact, go like us on Facebook and follow us on Instagram, Twitter, and TikTok. And that way you can actually make sure that you're always informed and you're always updated about the very latest, and make sure that you know about everything that happens all over the world. And don't forget to download our app, which is available on both the Apple App Store and the Google Play Store. You can actually make sure you're always informed, you're always updated about the very latest. So don't forget to do that. However, now I want to very quickly talk about, climate change. I want to very quickly talk about the impacts that we're seeing all across the world, because those impacts are very, very hard to miss. All right. So, like I said, there's so much of changes that are happening in the world with regard to climate change. And like Mr. Alok Sharma just said, we are currently running out of time, and we're in the middle of this catastrophic climate. We're in the middle of a climate change catastrophe. So if we don't stop and if we don't make the changes we need to make, then the planet is probably going to die much sooner. And, we're all going to suffer way more than we're suffering right now. All right. Now, Alok Sharma actually said in talks to The Guardian, he actually said that this is the moment that we have to get this right. Right. And if we don't get this right, what's going to happen is going to be the starkest warning yet about the environment's future. All right. So he also said that he doesn't think we're out of time right now, but we're dangerously close to getting to running out of time. Right now we're not exactly at the point where we've run out of time, but if we don't do anything if we don't do anything to solve the problem, what can actually happen is that we can run out of time, because we're dangerously close to running out of time. All right. Now, he said that from the IPCC report, you can actually see that we're getting a very, very clear warning that if we don't act now, we will unfortunately be out of time, and by then it'll be too late to save. Right. So he added that every fraction of a degree rise actually makes a huge difference, and that's why countries have to act now. Right. However, ironically, though, he actually he actually refused to condemn the plans for the new oil field of Shetland, which could actually see up to about 170 million more barrels getting extracted, right? Which is again harmful for the environment. So even though he was saying all of this, he actually refused to condemn the new plans for the oil field of Shetland. All right. And he also added that, the truth is we're not seeing impacts not just here in the world, but we're seeing impacts all over the world, right? We're seeing impacts in the United Kingdom, we're seeing in Greece, we're seeing it in China, we're seeing it in Northern America because of the forest fires. We're seeing it all over the world. So even if we're seeing it and where, we can see what is happening, why are we so why is it that we don't want to change? Why is it that we're still going ahead and ignoring this? Right now, if you are confused about that, if you're concerned about that, and you want to make sure you know more, well, make sure you stay tuned, because right now we're going to head into a small break, and after that we will be back to keep talking more about this. So until then, make sure you stay tuned. All right, because right now we're going to head into a small break.
The valuations that you place on an asset are always behind you. It's always in hindsight. It's never in front of you, and that's one of the challenges, right? Because you're always valuing what happened yesterday, and what you need is what's going to happen tomorrow. What am I saving or investing for? Why am I doing it? When will I